Good morning. I am so glad all of you are here. Today, we're talking about how narcissists, how standing up to a narcissist can go all wrong, and how to kind of navigate your way through it. I'm Rita Hickman. I'm a body mind expert and a shiatsu massage therapist. And I help women um, uh, speak their truth, find their voice, stand up to the narcissist, that whether they marry them, whether it's their child, whether the narcissist is even dead, because those vibes, the repercussions of having narcissistic relationship can last generations, because you are the latest technology, you are the latest iteration of these thoughts and ideas and mindsets that have been passed down, which helped people survive in the past in many ways in abusive situations, but aren't necessary now. It's time to evolve, it's time to heal, it's time to grow, it's time to take back our voice, because guess what, narcissism is coming out of the woodwork, because it's a spectrum and people are struggling more and more. The more stress they're under, the more narcissistic they're going to behave. So today we're talking about how standing up for yourself can go all wrong with the narcissist. So one of the things I've been watching lately is a masterclass with Chris Voss, and it's on hostage negotiation. When I was in my narcissistic relationships, when they were really in a difficult place, it feels like you're being held hostage. You're being held hostage by your body, by your situation, by your own reactions, by your uncertainty, by your feeling of helplessness, by your rage, or by your fear, or by your anxiety. But either way, you're feeling held hostage in a situation. If that's what you're feeling, if you're feeling like it's a hostage situation, I think it's important to look at it that those are the emotions that are actually involved. Maybe the narcissist that you're with, wouldn't be willing to go so far as to physically, do something or turn it into domestic violence or physical violence of any sort. But, you as a victim don't know that. You don't know whether the perpetrator, the narcissist, you really don't know whether they are going to follow through on their threats, whether they are going to follow through on their ideas or beliefs or suggestions. I mean, I've had stories of people who would hold their babies over balconies, threatening to let them fall, threatening to drop them. And probably they wouldn't have done it. But you, as the victim, you don't know this. You don't really know what someone who's dealing with mental illness is capable of. And you found out that even though you're with someone that you have feelings for, or is a complicated relationship, family or friends or romantic or whatever it may be, um, you found that there's that darker side. There's the darker side of narcissism, which is very scary and painful. Now, if you look at a lot of narcissistic literature and information that's out there, it's a lot about, you need to stand up for yourself. You need to, it's a very aggressive tone. It's a very me against you, and it's not going to be me. It's it's a tone, it's a feeling that is very threatening to the narcissist. Now, why should you care whether something is threatening to a narcissist? Well, let me tell you why. Because a narcissist is less stable than you are. They've got a different value system than you do. They are more likely to follow through on the threats that they offer, especially if they are highly triggered and feel cornered in some way. They can become dangerous by their choices. They can set things up that could cause a lot of trouble and destruction. Um, they don't even know what their limits are, because they're constantly reacting and on edge. So we have to look at narcissistic relationships as a situation of someone with a mental health disorder. And when you're dealing with someone with a mental health disorder, there's a lot of uncertainty because the mind, the mind is temperamental. The body is temperamental. So you can't really know how someone will follow through. And so a lot of narcissist advice is, how do you get back at the person? How do you punish them in some way? How do you get revenge? And most of the responses is go no contact. If you go no contact ever again, then that solves the situation because they find a different supply. Now, this may be okay or true if it's a relationship that you have no ties to. If it's a relationship that, maybe you've only known for a few years. But it's very difficult when you've been married to somebody for 40 years, when they're your mother or your father or your brother or your child, or it's a job that you need, or it's someone that you deeply, deeply care about who is really struggling. So they're behaving in very narcissistic ways. It's, it's a very challenging, difficult situation when you're dealing with someone who is struggling like that. And we have to treat it with a certain level of respect because the other person really is an unknown. And yeah, on the front end, they may just be a bully, but you don't know that yet. You aren't going to know that yet until you get some of your own issues dealt with. You're not going to know what the real threat of the situation is until you have more resources on your side, until you've got some community, until you're able to be safe, and until you're able to protect yourself. If you're not able to do these things, then there's going to be a grand, huge uncertainty and a huge fear in your heart, a huge anxiety about what someone is capable of and how you may be helpless to them. And that's what's kind of kept many women trapped for a very long time, is that unknown and that uncertainty. And then we bring back the patterns or the mindsets or the beliefs of when we were a kid. If I'm just nice enough, if I just try harder, if I just give more, if I'm just more compassionate, if I just, stand up for myself better, and push back. So remember, there's a lot of uncertainty. And when you start pushing back, there's going to be a lot of fear on your part. And then guess what happens? Your fear and your anxiety and your uncertainty feeds the situation. The narcissist isn't the enemy. The situation is the enemy. The narcissist is one perspective of the situation, and you're another perspective of the situation. If you can hold that in your mind, then you start to gather your power of how to handle difficult situations smoothly so that you can protect yourself and you keep things from getting really out of hand. Because when someone's triggered and they're volatile, yes, they can be dangerous, emotionally dangerous, physically dangerous, dangerous to the situation. They can blow everything up. They can use the weapons that they have because they're so scared and they feel so cornered, kind of like an animal in a corner, and what they're willing to do. And I know what that's like. I've been there. I've been cornered where I would do anything to protect myself, usually by the narcissist, right? So when you start to get your support, when you start to get a community around you of people who understand, when you're starting able to work on your nervous system and release some of these old memories and change some of your thought patterns, when you're able to do this, you can handle a narcissist's reactions like you were a hostage negotiator, which is very skilled. And so it's not about standing up for your rights and standing up for yourself, because guess what? The narcissist can feel you. They can feel your energy and it feeds them and it makes it worse and it spirals them down until, you're living in a state of fear of what they're capable of doing. And maybe you create a great opportunity and you realize, aha, they really are a coward. But you know what? You don't have to go through that high level of painful, painful fear doing this on your own, standing up for yourself in the middle of craziness. You can do this in a much more graceful way. And the ways to do it is to get the support, work on releasing the emotions and the memories that are triggering your nervous system, and handling the situation as if the other person is mentally unstable, because they are. That's the situation you're dealing with. People who have high narcissistic qualities tend to be struggling. And yeah, you can't quite know what they're capable of. And you already know things they're capable of, which are very painful and very difficult. And you don't want to keep going through that. That's why a lot of women struggle to go no contact, because the fear of what could happen, of how a narcissist would react or respond, it leaves you completely helpless. And that's not a good place for you to be in. And it's not a good place for anybody, especially if you have kids. So, step number one is get some support. Step number two is you start to learn how to handle the narcissist as if they're struggling mentally. And you start to learn the skills and the ability to navigate um, a dangerous or uncertain or volatile situation in a very confident, calm, centering way where everybody comes out okay. Now, it may feel like you're somehow betraying yourself. How can I capitulate? How can I treat the narcissist as if they have mental health? I have problems. Do you know what they've done? Do you know what they've done to me? Yeah, I do. I do know what they've done. And you're not doing this because, you're becoming a better person, because you're superior in some way. You're doing this to save yourself. You're doing this, you're having compassion and looking at the situation and dealing with your feelings and the emotions in order to protect yourself and to protect the other people that you love. And as a side effect, which is a bonus, the narcissist can get better because they start learning their own skills. But that's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to protect yourself and help protect the people that you love. And until you really know how to do that, until you know how to do that in a way where you can come out safely, where you don't have to lose everything, where you don't have to have yourself destroyed, where you don't have to put on armor that's miles thick in order to engage, um, you're able to come from a place of sincere confidence, not fake confidence, but sincere confidence, where you look at the narcissist and you're able to confidently say, yeah, they're struggling and they're in a volatile place. And how do I want to handle this? And when you are in that space, you're able to navigate, you're able to see what's going on, you're able to make good decisions, you're able to get the hostages out alive, which is really what you want, with minimum damage and volatility. Most of the information you see out there will be about how to punish, how to push back, how to be angry. But as I said, a narcissist can feel that, and that feeds them, and they're going to react to that. Doesn't mean you have to tolerate anything. You don't have to tolerate anything at all. You're not supposed to. But what it does mean is that when you get the help that you need, you are able to stand up to a narcissist because you're standing up for your right to have a good relationship. You're standing up for your own rights to not be traumatized and victimized anymore. And it doesn't have to be done in a dramatic way. It can be done in a very no nonsense way. All the jokes about moms and dads, how kids can tell that moms aren't serious and they'll keep screwing around, but as soon as their dad comes home, or the one who's the heavy in the family, they shape up. This is the same sort of thing. When you take your power back, when you realize the power that you have, when you start to develop the skills on how to communicate with someone who's mentally unstable, that's how you do it, from a confident, calm, centered place where you are not victimized, you are not traumatized, and in many cases, you get what you want. Because the person who's least affected, the person who's most grounded, the person who's most centered is the one in any altercation that will win, that will get what they want. Now, hopefully, what you want is for everybody to win, for there not to be revenge and punishment and back and forth and bullying. Hopefully, that's your ideal, where it's a win win. Maybe you don't stay in the relationship, maybe it's already done, but relationships never really end. There's always that connection. There's always this back and forth, even if you never talk to them again. And if you don't deal with that, if you don't learn how to handle yourself in a hostage negotiation when a narcissist or your body or your own beliefs or your community is holding you hostage, you have to learn how to negotiate your way out of it. because any other way will create way more drama than you want. Because remember, a narcissist doesn't have the same boundaries you have. They don't have the same value system. They are willing to do worse things than you're willing to do. And I want you to be able to go no contact or to separate yourself or protect yourself in a way that is long term, not just in a way that gets you out now, but in a way that stops you from being victimized from anyone ever again. Okay? So if you need help, let me know. Reach out. We've got a wonderful group. Within months, women are able to start making these shifts and changes and reclaiming themselves because they're finally able to get the support and the tools. And a lot of them are counterintuitive, but when you're able to get that, you can start turning things around almost immediately because you start thinking differently. So if in this really hard, tough time, reach out. Lots of resources, whether it's a free searchable library that's available, whether it's one-on-one coaching, whether it's the coaching group that we have, all of that's available. Just let me know and we can help you through this, okay? So I hope you have a great rest of your day. Share these videos with women who you think could benefit from them, who are struggling and who need them, and realize there's a way out. You don't have to suffer with this anymore. And it's much, much faster to get to the other side of this and much less painful when you get support. Okay? So I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll talk to you later. And I'll see you on Monday. Have a good weekend. Bye.